This is Maintenance and Manufacturing Insights, hosted by Martin Angser, bringing you straight conversations with the people keeping machines running and production moving.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm sitting here with Gabriel Little. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I started off in maintenance in the technician realm after going to school for HVAC. Learned that was a very strong connection to the maintenance field in the mechanical and electrical areas. So I started off at Jacobson Logistics, which was a third-party logistics company, and then moved to Amazon, and then later ThreadUp, which was a secondhand clothing startup out of the Bay Area. Currently work for Ross Stores at their distribution centers and maintenance, and soon to be moving on to equipment engineering.
Outstanding. So how do people find you? How do people get a hold of you in case they have some questions?
Best way to get a hold of me right now is on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn under Gabe Little. If you search for Gabriel, you might find a few other people, but I'm sure you'll get there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we know Ross and then Gabriel Little. Got it.
Yep.
Well, hey, so you said you were about to move on down to you said one of the Carolinas, right?
Yes.
And you'll be doing what's the gear change? Where are you headed to?
Yeah, moving to South Carolina. We have DCs all over the country. We do have two in South Carolina where I'll be stationed, for lack of a better term. um, the pivot is going to be mainly focusing more on asset management and life cycles, and then also managing more vendors, making sure that they're getting us the right equipment moving forward, and just doing the right thing for our team and for the maintenance team, so they have less to manage after the fact.
Okay, when you say equipment, what kind of equipment are we talking about? What kind of good stuff you guys got?
Mainly transportation conveyors. So I'll be focusing mainly on conveyance, but there will be some rolling stock equipment. There may likely be some facilities equipment mixed in there too, but my focus is going to be on the conveyance.
Okay. So do you guys with that being said, maintenance and all that stuff, what is your maintenance? Do you guys have like a set maintenance program to call it preventative maintenance?
Yeah, we use a CMMS like many others to manage our preventive maintenance, and well, really all of our maintenance projects, reactive, etc. And we manage the program through there, as well as many other things, training. Our document library for the manuals is attached to each piece of equipment, things like that. So we manage it through there. Technicians manage most of it as far as the day-to-day closing work orders, but we do have a team that schedules the maintenance and kind of manages through kitting parts and things of that nature.
So walk me through a normal day for you on what you do right now instead of, I mean, what you'll be doing when you're moving down to the Carolinas down there.
Yeah, right now I'm focused on the day-to-day maintenance, managing the team, have a few supervisors and then technicians under them. In total, it's close to 30 people now. We did increase the size of the team somewhat recently, which has been nice. Felt reprieve both in the day-to-day as a result of making more preventive maintenance happen, which has been great to see, and managing a lot of vendors, because we're managing everything from the MHE to the rolling stock to the facility itself. So all the above as goes into my day to day, and really it depends on the day, what happens really, because the building is aging quite a bit. And that comes with a lot of different challenges, but always exciting to see what's going to happen next. But definitely looking forward to moving into that asset management and life cycle role. Should be fun, have some experience doing it, specifically in the automation area from my time at ThreadUp. So yeah, it's going to be great. But
So okay, so you guys, you said you just increased in your maintenance teams. You went up to 30 people. I mean, that's you guys are definitely not a Well, I mean, it's Ross. You guys aren't a small company, so I bet there's a lot of moving parts as far as that stuff goes. What was one of the worst maintenance situations that you ran into, and what'd you do to fix it? How'd you help that out?
Uh, to go back to the worst maintenance situation I've been in,
Should always
it
be a
was
good story, right? I mean, it's like
yeah,
you always got the good stories, and then you got the worst case scenario, and the worst ones are always the good stories.
yes. So going back a few years before my time at Ross, we had a ThreadUp stored several million garments in their DCs, depending on which DC you were in. And we had carousels similar to what you'd see at a dry cleaner, but much longer and
Okay.
stacked on top of each other and
Okay.
access through a mezzanine. Those carousels were held on by yokes, nylon yokes, and we had a pretty substantial crash, which ended up in one of the higher level carousels coming to ground level, which was a life-changing experience when I got that call.
Oh
It
yeah.
was not something I was expecting. So back then I managed 4 buildings, and
Uh,
one of them was in Arizona, and that's where it happened. So, cutting it down, rebuilding the whole, call it conveyor from scratch, was definitely an interesting experience, especially from afar. I wasn't there before they finished the rebuild, but it actually ended up in finding and working with SEW and
okay.
SEW's new Movie Suite software and installing some of their VFDs, and they are much more sensitive to what we were using. We went through the whole thing with looking at torque settings, current draw on the VFDs that we had associated with these drives, and we ended up going with an SEW. Um, Found a broken. It was a yoke with just one break. It shut the equipment down. So it was a catastrophic crash, but it led to a lot of good learnings and something that I've been able to implement years down the road. Actually, a few of them here at Ross. So
So, so would you say that your basically your conveyors or whatever else is that basically one of your biggest equipment items, or do you guys have other type of machinery that you manage and take care of? I mean, for your maintenance team, or that your maintenance team really has to, keep their eyes on and make sure everything is good to go.
conveyance is definitely the biggest thing for sure. Like the rolling stock and the facilities things, they do come up. But our biggest focus is the conveyance, especially given how much there is in the building, and obviously the importance, right? We want to keep the boxes moving out the doors.
What kind of equipment are you looking at or trying to implement for this for the automation stuff that you were talking about? I mean, automation, AI, all this stuff that's going around nowadays, everybody is trying to streamline it to, I guess to human is to error, or being human is to error, or whatever. And, computers don't quite make those kind of mistakes or whatnot, or, you can get the automation for that. What is it that you're implementing or planning to implement for your automations? Anything new and crazy?
Currently nothing new and crazy. I do have some good stories about new and crazy from a past life. But right now we're focusing on, reliability, like I mentioned before, making sure our vendors are doing the right thing for Ross, and mainly the as far as automation goes, it's networking. So, we have added the robots, things like that. We're still exploring, but the biggest thing is making sure our network is in place and um, I don't want to say stable, but established,
Mhm.
so that the technicians on the floor have the tools that they need to troubleshoot effectively.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the best, I talked to another company, and what they were doing was with all their major equipment, they would have, like you said earlier, having the manuals or whatever else right there by the equipment. But the other thing that they were talking about is having some of the major spare parts, or some of the major components that fail, or tools that are required for said machine, right next to the machine. So that way, they're not running around from one to the other to the tool crib to get whatever out just to go ahead and repair said issue. Is that something that you guys also do or something similar to?
Similar, but our biggest focus right now is just making sure that we have stable parts in our documented in our CMMS. It's actually part of my new role. I'm working on a large project across the network just to make sure that, part numbers are documented appropriately, descriptions are there as needed. We've made leaps and bounds just within the past year or really less as far as stability and getting those things right, getting our database right. But yes, in some DCs, we do keep spare parts directly beside pieces of equipment that are critical. We do here too for specifically for our most critical piece of equipment, our sortation systems.
Right.
But yeah, the biggest focus right now is just making sure that everything that we have here is documented appropriately, regardless of the location. It's
Right.
something I've told technicians in the past. Whenever technicians were part of that management stream, here we have planners, so they are managing that specifically. But I tell them it doesn't matter where it's at, as long as you can find it in the system and it'll tell you the location.
Right.
It could be on one end of the DC or the other, it doesn't matter, but as long as you have something that tells you where to find it, then you'll be in good shape.
So do you guys use like just manual labor to, physically inspect all the items or all the things coming through, or is it all like QR code scanning it? And then, do you guys have what are some issues that you've ran into with your, I mean, we have an inventory system here as well at Centerline, and I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but it definitely happens where our inventory is off, and then what do you do then?
We currently use manual labor for the whole process. Um,
Wow.
we are working towards barcodes on
Hmm.
on the locations, but the next step for us is to have a controlled parts room. So we're moving towards, since we have the planners in place, it's gonna be run more or less like a service window where they can come up,
Okay.
get the part or request the part. Um, Generally speaking, bring the old one back just for reference to make sure we have the right thing.
Right.
But
Right.
other than that, it'll be locked down to help uh, compliance as far as cycle counting and inventory location. So that's what we're moving towards as part of that larger project to make sure that everything is accurate. Um, Not, again, like you said, to err is to human. There
Right.
is to be human. So 100% may be a stretch, but we're definitely going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, again, back to just the sheer size of Ross. I mean, you were talking earlier about, the different locations, and the one you're at right now is a little bit older and moving to new locations. I mean, keeping track of all your inventory, I mean, that's got to be a task and a half. I mean, that's got to be, I mean, obviously it's almost a full-time job.
Yeah, so that's actually why we moved towards the planner scheduler roles. Um, but yes, this project that I've taken on recently to help make sure that everything is documented in all the DCs is definitely a monster, and it has been rearing its ugly head to make sure that I know that it's there. But we're working through it well. Working with all the planners and the DCs across the network, and it's been going well. So
Good, good.
hopeful that this time next year we'll be in a even better place than we are now.
Right. Well, I mean, it's we always strive to get to move forward and not to be, what is it? One step forward, two steps back. That doesn't happen or that's not the scenario. Just because, I mean, you're not making progress if you're taking two back and only one forward, right?
Right. Yeah,
So,
we've been making a lot of good steps forward, and that parts project is just one of those things. But we have lots of good things in progress right now.
well, that's good. That's definitely that's a plus. So here's we're gonna switch gears a little bit more on the personal side, but I like to ask this question just because the answers always they're not always quite different, but they're still very unique, I think. And the question is, when you talk to your friends, family, relatives, whatever, and you tell them what you do or where you work, what is the one part where they're like, "Wow, you do what?" You know, the wow effect of what you do, you know, on a day to day. Because I mean, sometimes maintenance or whatever else, that doesn't really sound like very impressive or whatever else. You know, I mean, I've talked to other people and it's like, oh, so you're a janitor. I don't know how a janitor is considered maintenance, but you know, no, but I do this because this is what it does. What, you know, the wow part of what we do. What are they
Yeah,
surprised about?
more often than not, it's almost everything. My my wife actually posted something the other day about how when I talk to her about things that happen at work, she just stares at me with a blank face because she has no idea what's
Right.
going on. But the thing that really is exciting for me and kind of throws them off as far as the wow factor is the work I've done in automation. I've worked with at ThreadUp, I worked with the dev team to work on some machine learning projects, which there were a lot of good learnings there. I found out sometimes when you try to step down from 24 to 5 volts to trigger a camera to take a picture of a garment, that it acts as a capacitor and it takes several pictures of that garment.
Oh,
Um,
nice, nice.
but
Hey, we got
uh,
burst at this point.
yes, yeah. So that's really the wow factor. The like, wow, you work with machine learning, and I'm like, I work with the people that work with machine learning.
There you go.
I'm not a software developer by any means, but you on a day to day basis in maintenance specifically, it's the improvements that we get to make, right? It's like you've been given this piece of equipment. There's all this time and development and engineering into it, and we made this huge change that just blows the reliability out of the water in a good way.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Right.
but talking about some of those things, that's kind of where the wow factor comes in. It's kind of like that's I may not understand it, but it sounds really cool.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about automation a couple times now, and I just dawned on me or wanted to ask, are you using a lot of AI at this point for any of this stuff, or are you doing this all from learning or experience, you know, having run into different scenarios?
Mainly learning and experience. I've just in the past year or two really started using AI to look at analytics.
Yeah. Okay.
Going through the CMMS and using that to build dashboards so it's clear, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna here's what our focuses should be and here's why, and here's what's been happening specifically to these pieces of equipment. Even with that, looking at the analytics, it's mostly experience and pulling on that past
Yeah.
knowledge from that stuff from before AI was really big.
Yep.
But I'm definitely working it in a big way into my day to day.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I dabble in AI. I mean, and if I say dabble, if using Chat GPT to help formulate an email, you know, if that's or formulate a post or whatever else, then that's the amount of my AI experience so far. But I keep getting asked about AI and stuff like that, so I was kind of curious to see if you're using it in a capacity to help with your processes at work. So
Yeah,
it's
like I said, mostly analytics, but
yeah,
trying to work in more and more, a little beyond the emails, which I do,
right.
which I
Yeah.
also do. So,
The cliff notes, you know, I mean, it
right.
definitely does help. I mean, it prevents you from having to go searching from all kinds of different places. You know, it all basically pulls it into one hub where you can just read, you know, the information or whatnot. So I could see that being a heck of a thing for sure. So back to the personal level, what do you do outside? What do you do other than messing around with Ross and machines and all that good stuff?
Um, well, other than moving, which it made my whole life crazy. So
Well, I mean,
beyond
when you're
that,
moving from more than a couple states over, you know, that's definitely not a small undertaking.
no, no, and it hasn't been, and I've learned that somewhat the hard way.
Yeah.
All the expectations I had have been blown out of the water. But other than that, I just to give a little bit of context, my mother's parents live in Western Pennsylvania, and it's a big farming area, and spent a lot of summers out there. So I got into gardening, some livestock. When I say livestock, really just chickens, eggs for the family. I like to work on my own vehicles. Sometimes things
car guy. That's what I like to hear.
Sometimes things that are needed, but I most car guys like to focus on the things that aren't needed.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's my.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I wish I was a mechanic so I could actually work on the engine of my cars. But yeah, no. I mean, if I can't find it on YouTube or University, then I'm pretty much SOL.
And along with that, I like to go I have a side by side, so I go riding with friends, and
Heck yeah.
and obviously the mechanic portion is tied into that whenever I decide to break it one weekend. So that's very helpful.
Right. Yeah, I wish, like I said, if I had the knowledge to be able to do that kind of stuff, I tell you what, one, my hobby would be a lot cheaper just because I wouldn't have to hire people to do all the work for me. And number two, I might not sit around at home and play Legos. I like to play Legos. Okay. At least I'm putting something together, I guess, is how I feel. I don't know. It's my little side hobby, if you will.
Yeah, I've been meaning to find time to way back. I was a big Lego kid.
Yep. I was one since I was a kid, and now the good stuff is some of those Legos are gotten so complex or so big that that's become an adult toy and not a kid toy anymore.
Yep.
That's wild. Well, Gabriel, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you talking to us about what you do and how you do it. And it sounds like you've got everything under control, and you'll be making some good progress for the company Ross as you move to your new location. I wish you the best of luck, and thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, you take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Maintenance and Manufacturing Insights with Martin Angster. Want to be featured on the show? Head over to maintenancemanufacturinginsights.com/guest to apply and share your story with the industry.